Hello everybody, welcome to today's Sunday Q&A, as always. Right, so we're going to leap straight into it today from Tiffy. He said he enjoyed the video. He said thanks for taking the time out to do the days in the life. Now, I'm doing a few more of these, partly because it seems to be what people want to watch, and partly because it does actually show you what life is like on the CX. I mean, it's life on the CX in the truck. There's plenty of other people out there doing a van, like in a van on the run. I know he's one. There's a few others, Big Beardy, out there doing the thing, like, you know. So please check out their channels, and anyone else, please feel free, like, you know. But it does show you the other side of things. I tried to do the one with the screenshots so I could actually bid on jobs, but because I didn't get it right, I had the radio running in the background. You can't have the radio running in the background if you go onto YouTube, otherwise it's copyright. But I'm getting the hang of it. You know, it's not too bad. I'm trying to cut them down so they're not too long. So that might just be one collection, one delivery. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's appreciated. Shane Hardy says he's enjoying them as well. He says, you know, thanks very much. Steve Campbell says, I recognise when you were joining the A1. You just came off the A46, A17 roundabout to the A. Mate, I don't know. I just followed the sign. World's worst courier driver. Could get lost. Live in Dunstable. Sat nav goes dead. Could get lost in Dunstable. Yeah. So, but I went out that way, didn't I? Yeah, I've also done another one that's going out on Friday. Been to Luton, which is near Skegness. Coming out. Van on the Run says, can you use your BP card at non-BP stations? He said, I have a Shell card and I also use it at SO, Texaco, Golf. I was offered a BP card and I'm sure I said that they can be used at more than BP garages. We've got UK fuels, so I can use the BP card at BP stations and I can use the UK fuels card. I've got two. Apple Greens, SO, certain stations. The problem I always have with these stations is you're not always 100%, unless it's Apple Green, I'm not 100% sure when I pull in whether I can use the card or not. And basically, after a while, you get to know where the proper BP stations are. Not just the BP stations, but the BP stations where I'm less likely to have a queue because I haven't got lorries in front of me, and it's got an AdBlue pump. I mean, the ones on the A1 are probably the best, or if not for me, Northampton's good, and Newport Pagnell is decent. Some of them aren't. Some of them are painful. Toddington is like normally got a massive queue of trucks. Why, I don't know. So you do tend to work out which ones you can go to. Also, if I don't need AdBlue and the height restrictions there, I often just go to the normal one. I know it says no HGVs, but no one says anything. And you're limited to the amount of diesel you can put in. But, you know, now they're limited to 70 litres, used to be 100. But if I've only got a 150 litre tank. If I'm stuck behind two Arctics that might have 300 litre tanks, I can be there for half hour. And I mean, I'm only putting as much as a Range Rover, so I don't see why I should be discriminated against. But no, in short, I tend to just pick the BP because it's just easy life, you know. Godzilla says, I'm filling up because the catchy thing doesn't always work, does it? You get a little click behind a lorry pump, you click it and you put it back and it locks. Doesn't always work when you're standing there, particularly when it's cold. He says it gets really cold when there's 200 litres to drop in, so if it doesn't lock, a tennis ball to wedge in the handle. It's not a bad idea. Cheers, mate. Remembering where it is in the cab is another thing. He says, good on you for sitting around time. I'll be coming to this at the end because he's out in a truck now. Yeah, we'll come to that at the end, mate, if it's to do with waiting time and stuff like that, because he's got a few questions, and I've got you penciled in. So, but thanks very much for the heads up. And London Creative says, was that Uriah Heep you were playing on guitar? I can't remember what I was playing on guitar. Yeah, I think I was playing Squeeze, and I'm relearning classical gas. As you will find out if you watch Friday's instalment. The old truck guitar, the thing about it is my mate Dave the Crisps. He started teaching me a long time ago, and I played for it. I was doing kendo, and then the guy at kendo says you're doing too much with your right hand. You've got to do something with your left hand. Clean your teeth with your left hand. Drink your cup of tea with your left hand. So as a result of which, I learned to play guitar, and then dropped the kendo because it was more interesting playing guitar. And I'd done it for a little while, and then I just got frustrated with it, and I realised that nobody really wanted to listen, and you have to practice so long to be good. So I put it to one side, but now I've got it in the lorry. Tell you what, enough to make the brakes go quick. You pull that out, and it says 10 minutes, and you dump. Oh, 31, let's go. It's nice, I'm enjoying it. So I won't try and bore you too much with it. I'm lying, I will. Everybody look at me, even though I play really badly. Yeah, so going to the people that know far better than me, some testimonials. We had a testimonial this week, which was very, very well received. Thank you very much, from the Amazon driver, because a lot of you out there doing the Amazon thing or questions about the Amazon thing. So that was very good. Thank you very much. I've got no more testimonials. If anybody wants to share their experience on, well, I'm not actually reading. Right. Anybody wants to share their experience of the Courier Exchange, what it was like for you? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? Is it a nightmare? Did it make £1 million? Did it make no money? That is my email address. If you want to write a testimonial to petercoath@live.co.uk, please do, and I'll read them out. If not, I won't. There's about 5 on there, so at least that gives some people some indication of what it's like on the exchange. Not just for me, because I'm in a lorry now, for people driving vans, for others. So, coming back to you, the Amazon guy, Christy Burker says, Dispatch Site Manager, DSP, from what I remember. Lee Chambers says Delivery Service Provider, and Kev asks is correct. So I'm not quite sure what DSP stands for, but I think it's Delivery Service Provider. I think it's kind of the way they subcontract things out. So, but anyway, Ian Coin says, if you're only clearing £500 a week, you might as well do the Amazon 2.0, where there is no van rental, fuel or insurance to find, as you're provided with the grey Amazon van. And the grey Amazon vans are very nice. They're electric, so chances are they run out every 3 miles. But okay. But yeah, it would be nice to drive around in a tiny vehicle. Why not? Nate Coleman says, definitely more worth it if you have your own vans, as rentals using their vans can be 180 week plus depending on the company, so it will eat into your salary, especially if you work less than 4 days, again depending on your company bonuses, day rate, small large van routes, etc. Where I am at recently, we've had 4 to 5 days available, which doesn't sound bad, but overall really did affect a few drivers with fuel prices, etc. at the moment. It's better to do at least 5 or 6 days just to be able to get a good take home after expenses. So in some cases, you're really working to keep your van, insurance and repairs, which 8 out of 10 times are very pricey. No surprise, at bay, and keep everything running, which can suck, which just basically sucks. A lot of places do seem to be different to another though. So what he's saying is, and I think a few of you said, is that if you have to rent a van, I'm going to do one on this, can you rent a van and run on the exchange? It doesn't really work out. I've said it before, you're better off buying a cheap van yourself and doing the thing, and yeah, that seems to be the way forward. Sorry, I just had to pause it there, let it flee out. Dale Steele says, £2,000 a month is less than £500 a week for a self-employed driver. That's absolutely ridiculous. That can't be much more than minimum wage. It's £500 a week, it's £100 a day. If you're working 10 hours a day, that's £10 an hour. Minimum wage is £9.50. And you've got all the grief to go with it. You've got to think about these things, guys. It isn't taking into account your yearly account fees and all that kind of stuff. The problem is, to run as a courier, you kind of need to be bringing in good money just to absorb all the leakages. Oh, we need a new clutch. Oh, we can tax, national insurance, wear and tear, diesel. My God. So yeah, you drill into it, definitely. Van on the Run says, if it's actually take home after deductions, then totally wow. But that's after cost before tax deductions. Yeah, he's saying the same thing. He also goes on to say, I did a day's induction at Amazon, but never started. Pretty sure DSP means delivery service partner. We'll get in there. It's Amazon's way of not employing people as is the way these days. Drivers are self-employed but working for a DSP who is then contracted to Amazon. Is that actually £100 take home, i.e. after tax, or are they giving you £100 and you're paying your own tax and national insurance, or are you getting paid? Are they paying that? And the chances are, if it's a subcontracting, that's on you. So it's not even £100 takeover. Yeah, basically saying the same thing about £10 an hour. Doesn't work. He also goes on to say Amazon Flex delivering the parcels is also a waste of time now. Amazon Flex is the one, I believe. Relay is the one you do in the van. Flex is the one where you can do like 40 parcels in your car, but you can do it, say for example, if you want to do a little bit after work, or you finish early at 4, you've got your job, you finish at 4 o'clock, you can go in between 4 and 7 delivering parcels at night time. He said, waste of time. Now, Amazon have pushed it too far in their pursuit of profit. They don't know where to stop. They chase every penny, even though they're already making a good margin. I like to think of it will bite them one day, and the conveyor belt will eventually run dry. The conveyor belt of fools? I don't know, Van on the Run, I don't know. It seems to be a very long belt to me. But so that was it, and thanks very much to the man who actually took the time to write the email. Like I say, if you've got any emails, email them in. Your experience of life on the Courier Exchange, or just life in general being a courier. But only that. If it's just a general comment, put it in the comments. If you write it as an email, I'll lose it. Right, small van or Luton? We did this one for Johnny Van Courier because he's trying to work out whether they'll make the jump or not. And he says, sound advice. And I'd not considered trying out a box Luton first, because he said he didn't know whether they got the Luton curtain side. And Luton curtain sides are not easy to find. And if you do find them, they tend to be ex-courier vans, which means they've been through the mill. If you can get a box, it tends to be ex-hire van, which means it's probably only done Saturdays and Sundays, weekend removals mainly. Then if it works well and the van's tidy, get it converted. Get one, so you can get one side converted for a curtain for around about the £1,200 mark. Some a bit dearer, some a bit cheaper, and you've got the best of both worlds. He said, convert it later. There's some tidy looking box ones for around the 10k mark. That's good to know. That's about what I paid for my last van when I bought it. It seems it definitely an itch I need to scratch. The Jedi voices are telling me to do it, but they've been wrong before. That's because you're not listening to the voices properly. They're never wrong. If you think, I've just done it. I went and bought the S Pen and the new case for the phone, even though the little voices, the back of my head, were the ones that go in, ain't going to work, it's going to be ridiculous, ain't going to work. But the other voice, the one that was screaming louder, is, yeah, but I want it though. So I bought it, knowing full well that the voices were right, and now I've got to send it back. There you go. But they've been wrong before. I'll be great to find out one way or the other, though. Sometimes you just got to put these things to bed, like I did. I had to buy it so I can go, that's rubbish, send it back, and I'm done. And then go back to the small van. The few other people have added, which I think is cool. Dale Steele says, if you're going for a Luton, you're looking at 21 to 25 miles per gallon. I've never worked out miles per gallon, Dale. I'm useless. As I said, a world's worst courier driver. What I used to do when I was running a Luton, I used to work out that one tank of fuel cost me 100 quid, and it did about 400 miles. Therefore, it was 25p a mile, because 100 goes into 400 4 times. And then if I was charging around about the £1.10 a mile mark, I was making 75p a mile. That's how I used to do it in my head. I try and keep things simple, like with my driver's hours. I try and keep things simple. But I probably should be more professional about it, but I'm Mickey Mouse. I've said that all along. I don't know why anyone listens. Steve Campbell says, I would keep small at the moment, perhaps try bidding some Luton jobs and hire a Luton van on the jobs that require a Luton. Maybe hire a Luton for a week or two and then run it and see if he likes it. That's a very sound advice, Steve. That's a good idea. If you want to try it on a Luton van, just hire one. You can hire, my mate, Simple Brian, used to rent Luton vans to couriers at 900 quid a month. And he said, I'm not even sure I made any money. By the time I took into account the wear and tear and depreciation that they were putting, because the amount of miles they were putting on it, you rent something for a year, so you've got back 9 times 12 is, used to know that, 108. So you've made like, give or take 10 grand. That can't be right. No, that's the price of the van. I don't know why you're saying that, Brian. But he said, but they're putting 70,000 miles. He said, so the amount of money that the van cost me, by the fact it had gone down, and the money I had to pay, presumably, and the money I paid throughout the year in replacement parts, it just didn't work out. But he used to. He said, try and see if you like it. That way you're not fully committed, and then if you can just stick with a small van. Hiring a Luton could be £90 to £120 a day depending on the area, but I'd rather pay for hire of one than selling a van you've already got, buying a Luton and then insuring it and getting, realising that you made it the wrong way round. as Nick the Urban Trucker goes on, he says, like what Steve Campbell says. He says, personally, I looked to either buying a cheaper curtain-side looter or renting one for short-term hire, 3 to 6 months before committing to a big 20k purchase. That way you can see if it's going to work for you, especially now as work is starting to pick up. I bought a Luton curtain-side on a whim last year. It's been one of the best things I've ever done. It's paying for itself in a few months. I found it on eBay when I was looking for another trailer. I was really lucky and got it cheap. It's definitely worth having a look around. Good luck, whatever you decide. And that's a good point. What you can do is you can keep running in the small van, but just keep checking eBay on a daily basis. And then one day, one will ping up and you'll go, save your money up. That's the one. That's the boy. It's cheap. It's exactly what I want. It's got the right body. It's got hooks. It's got curtains. It's got the right tail. And then you just go and buy it. Rather than trying to put a square peg into a round hole, wait for it to come to you. That could be the way forward. But like I say, mate, JVC, however you decide to work it, I hope it works for you. Van on the Run says, if someone has to be home every night, he's the man out there running, he's the tramp running. If someone has to be home every night, then tramping is not an option. And tramping is not an option, then a Luton curtain side with a tail lift is the best van to have at the moment. If tramping is an option, then long wheelbase is the way to go. I appreciate that not many people see tramping in a van as a viable option. It depends on your family and all that kind of stuff, doesn't it, mate? So, Longfinger says, I've got 2 Lutons, but I'm going the opposite. I'm going to get a Merc Vito and have a small van and just run locally. Longfinger, hope that works for you, my friend. Everybody, that's the thing about the Courier Exchange. You do it your way. Shep 3650. I'm running both small van and Luton, and a Luton one with the curtain side. So he's running both. He said, whatever you do, don't get a Citroen relay base because no one can fix them other than the main dealers. I'm in South Shropshire and I have the same problems trying to get home. Big prices on the Luton helps me big time. So there's some responses there. JVC, it was JVC, wasn't it? Yeah. Good luck. Let me know how it goes. I'll pass it on. Right, I did one on the DAF air seat. I know I've done that one before, but the thing is, I wanted it to be an independent video so that the people who are ever searching YouTube for the DAF air seat can just go straight to it. Jessman Da Hangel says, one of my mates did not set his bouncy seat on you at the time super seats. He bashed his head on the ceiling. But that's pretty... You've got to go, son. The ceiling's quite high. Class, he said, by the Pierce, I set mine to the lowest setting, ran super comfy. Nowadays, I'm chopping about, so a different motor every day keeps up. Yeah, no, I might set mine. I want it as high as possible because I want to be up as high as possible. But I find if I set it as high as possible, it hurts me back. If you take it down a couple of notches, it's fine. So... just finding that position, isn't it, really? Right, welcome to a new regular feature of the show, which I've entitled Swap Shop, but I don't know why. I think just because I'm an 80s child. We got a couple of people there, because we were talking about JVC was trying to work out whether to buy his van or not. Dale Steele is selling an extra long wheelbase curtain sprinter with a tail lift. You can see Dale in the comments. So you can add a comment underneath if you're interested. And also, Marin Marinoff says, anyone interested, got a Sprinter Luton curtain side, both sides, mileage is low for a van, only 115,000 miles, 115k. That's pretty low for a van, I've got to say. Anything, if you buy one when I bought it, had about 150 on it. Loads of new parts, also automatic for sale. So if anyone's interested, JVC, you might be interested in Martin Marinoff's van. Maybe put a comment under the section in the swap shop, or just put a comment in the videos. I'll try and work out a way that you guys can get in touch. But if you're offering a service, like if you're a transport manager, or if you're selling a van, or if you're looking for a van and you want to leave it in the comments, I'll put it out there. If we can get people together and get you guys matched up, all power to you. That's right, now we're on to trucks. Manic Con says, just finished my first week out with a mentor driving, enjoyable, but can't wait till I'm on my own. Yeah, I'd prefer to be on my own. I don't really want someone sitting next to me. So, Manic, good luck, my friend. And Godzilla's is out there. He's out there in the lorry. He says, waiting. Right. Here's the thing. Just finished reading up on a Facey thread, and this is what it said. It was listed as an Arctic, but close enough. HGV is HGV. We all have a card in the hole. Some are given an extra hour at the start of the job and an hour and a half on delivery. The extra half an hour for checking the pallets. Others listed 2 hours free at the start. Price was listed at between 35 and 60 an hour waiting time. But this was in the interest of knowing you were sat on a bay for some time. This was said, after a certain point, some would charge a full day rate for waiting. It wasn't given out how long you would wait for this to be chargeable, but 4 to 5 hours was mentioned, along with £400 to £500. So some sat on a bay for 5 hours will drop the £50 an hour and charge a full day rate because their day's been ruined because they can't get a second job going on. It was also stated any job cancelled within 24 hours of job would be 100% abandonment fee, which I also thought was interesting. Right. We book 7.5 tonnes at £40 an hour waiting, and 18 tonnes at £50 an hour waiting. Collection, you get an hour free at collection and an hour free at delivery. Hour and a half for checking the pallets. Just don't go to Waitrose. If it says MK17, don't take the job. And I mean, sometimes you'll get them pallets on in 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a nose. What's really annoying is if it's an hour and 15 minutes, what you're going to do, ring them up and go, you owe me 10 quid. It's just not even worth the hassle. But yeah, that's the way I work on it. As for getting cancellation fees, on the CX it tends to be, it will depend on the guy that you've done, but we've had it before. I know Luke had a problem this week where he was put for removal and the lady she desperately wanted him, rung him up on the Thursday night, so I've got COVID, I can't do it now. He said, which didn't make a lot of sense, because if you've got to move house, you've got to move house. You still got to get someone to do it, so I think she might have got someone to backdoor him. But if you can get it. But on the whole, you only really get a cancellation fee when you're on site. I've done a video about that, it's coming out soon. But yeah, you'll work it out, mate. But I'm just pleased you're out in a lorry. Let me know how it's going. Good luck. And the miscellaneous is only one this week, which was Dale Steele, who said, I weighed my extra long Sprinter curtain side. It came in at 2,720 kg with a pallet truck. Wowzer. Yeah, wowzer. Because, that means you can carry 800 kilos. And that's a curtain side. Imagine if that had wood on the side as well, rather than curtains, because curtains are obviously much lighter than wood. That lorry's going to come in, that van's going to come in at the best part of 3,000 kilos. It's kind of pointless. I remember we had, my cousin Darren was running, and as a market trader, we used to build a false floor, which was made of wood. And then in the false floor, we'd put the metal poles, which are the ones that go up on the market stall, so that when you see a market stall, if it's raining or they've got the head there. And by the time it had the tail lift on, and the false floor, and the bars, and they weighed the van weighed in at something like 3,200 kilos. Which means you put 300 kilos on it. You've got to carry a full van of stock. It doesn't make sense. Market traders run overloaded. I know, I used to be one. Not anymore. And in conclusion this week, suffice to say that Bills is still very unhappy with the CX. Mate, thanks for the comments. You do you. And finally, Jeremy Hawke said, Pete, I looked to right pillock, where this week when I turned up in Bood with the wrong load, you may wish to remove me from the Wise Guys account. Jeremy, I would, but if I had to remove you, I would also have to remove myself, as I turned up in Leeds on Thursday after getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and driving 160 miles, which took me 3.5 hours, only to realise when I got there I had the wrong 2 pallets on. Kind of wasn't my fault, but suffice to say, I'm going to be up the yard this morning with a bucket of terps trying to wash palletways off the side of my lorry, which is where the mistake came. I'll do you a video on that, and I'll do you a video of washing palletways. How to clean sign-written vans up so the curtain goes back to blue again. It may be terps, it may be vinyl paint. I can replace the curtains. Sounds a bit dear. I'll let you know how it goes. In the meantime, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Take care. Take money.